Hey guys, it's Matt, channel of 943. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys how to custom detail and modify these Lionel California Zephyr passenger cars. So in today's video, basically, I'm going to show you guys how to turn this into this. So I'm going to take you guys step by step how I went ahead and modified and detailed these cars. So without any further ado, let's take a look. Alright, so you guys will notice that I skipped one step, and that is opening these cars, because opening them is pretty tricky and involved. So the first thing you need to do is remove these vestibules that are on either end of the car. There's one here, then there's one here. They go here and over here. That's easy enough. They're just held in by two screws on the other end here. But the tricky part is sliding the car out, because unlike the new cars where you just open the top, these you actually have to slide out. It kind of goes, you know, like this. And it's a royal pain because you have to kind of pry the shell, and also you have to move, there's brake cylinders that look like this on each of the four trucks. So that is that. But once you have it open, this is what you're presented with. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is take a look at the car and disassemble it a little bit. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to go ahead and pull out all these chairs. They're just kind of held in there. You just kind of snap them like this. Do all of them. And I like to do it by sections. So I'm going to start in this section right over here, which is the section adjacent to where the light plug is. So you just kind of go in here and you kind of snap these. Until they all come out. Some of them are a little bit trickier than others. I also like to remove this little man. I'll go and re-glue him later. But that's basically that. And then what I like to do is I like to set these aside in a place where I won't lose them, because we're going to come back to these in a few minutes. So let me go and move these and I'll be right back. Alright, so here it is with the seats removed. As you guys can see, they're on my iPad here. And there's also these two little lockers, I believe they are. You can keep these, you can remove them or put them back later if you want. It's up to you. But I'm going to leave them here because it's going to be a little bit easier to cut around them. But that's just me. Then also what I like to do is I like to go along with like a damp cloth or something and just kind of clean up any excess stick material that may be on here. It'll make life a little bit easier when we go ahead and start installing the floor pattern. Alright, so here is the floor pattern that we're going to use for today's project. And I got this off the LGR forum, off a post, and I'll go ahead and link that in the description of this video, so you guys can check it out if you want to do this on your own time. And I went ahead and printed out a couple sheets of it on here, and that's what we're going to decorate the floor with here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this pattern out, and we'll kind of go ahead and put it on here. So let's take a look at that. Alright, so I went ahead and cut out a section of the floor pattern, and this next step is pretty easy. Essentially all I'm going to do is go ahead and cut around these lockers, or like I said, you could remove them. You just kind of pull them out like this, and you can and put them back together if you want. So now it just made my job a whole lot easier. So essentially I'm just going to cut where these screw holes are now for the vestibule, and then I will be right back. Okay, so now I went ahead and cut around those holes. Now you can see I left a little bit of excess on there. That's okay, because I'm going to need it, especially to get down on this step piece here. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take some of this double-sided tape, and I'm going to go to like right about here-ish and go ahead and secure this part down, and then I'll be right back. Alright, the next step is to just kind of soften, press it down a little bit, and then the next step is basically just to keep on going. So I'm just going to go ahead and continue taping this, and then I'll kind of bend this edge down, a little bit of an angle kind of, and then tape that down, and then this section over here will be done, and then we'll fill in some of the gaps. Alright, so now this section here is all taped down and it's all nice and secure. So now we're going to fill in all the gaps. Now that's where a piece like this comes in handy, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it kind of around this, and I'm just going to fill in the gaps. So I'll go ahead and kind of cut this up and put it, you know, like in here, and maybe a little bit down here if I need to, maybe a touch in here. And then this section here will be done with the floor, and then we can go ahead and put these seats on there. Okay, so I went ahead and filled in all the gaps. I filled in this gap here, and I filled in this gap over here, and I also had a long piece, so I kind of extended it into here, and I just kind of bent it to make the contour of the step here. And then eventually we'll get into this section and over here too. But now what we're going to do is we're going to take all those chairs that we removed at the beginning of this video and go ahead and put them back. So let's take a look at that. Now this section here is a little bit difficult because when you do it, you saw that there were little tabs that went ahead and connected these seats to the car, and that's what that end there is. And obviously you can see we covered that. Now if you really wanted to, you could cut around this to find the general spot where that tab is, or even when you're laying this, you don't even have to remove these if you don't want to, and cut around the tab for these seats. Like if I was doing this, I can lay a piece that would fit all of this and around these tabs. But as for me, it's a whole lot easier just to remove them all and rearrange it the way I want. So what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to arrange it so they're sitting like this. You know, kind of have maybe 3 or 4 on each side, you know. A couple with the people, of course. And what you need to do it is you need to remove this tab. So that's where a pair of wire cutters, or even maybe a pair of pliers, or anything that cuts to get this off, or bend it, or whatever you have to do to go ahead and remove it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my cutters and just go ahead and cut this off, and I'll do the same for the rest of them. Just like that. Alright, so using the wire cutters, I went ahead and cut that nub down. So now, if I was to place it, it'll sit straight like I want. So now I'm just going to keep doing this for all of these chairs, and then we will go ahead and place them. Alright, so now I went ahead and took all the nubs off those seats, and now we can go ahead and place them. Now, what I like to do is kind of do something like this, and I like the way this looks. Now you could do really whatever you want, but that's just the way I like to do it. And all this really is really opinionated, and it's really your call as far as what you want to do. So I'm just gonna kind of put that out there, that what I'm doing may not be what you like, and if it isn't, that's okay. It doesn't have to be. Now the way you can secure these, you could do a couple different ways really. You could super glue them or double back tape them. I usually do the double back tape just because you can remove them if you need to, and it's not really permanent. You know, you can pull it out if you want to rearrange something or whatever, because eventually after I do this, I'll probably crack open these cars again and add more people to these seats. So I kind of want something that I can kind of play with and move around if I need to, or if I want to rearrange this at some time, I could still do that. So all I'm going to do is take my tape and just tape these seats, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so here we go. I went ahead and double back taped all those seats, and this section of the car is what I would consider for now done. And what basically I'm going to do is just continue going down this car. I'll do the carpet here, 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 and in through here. This section, I'm going to basically do the same thing as this. And then this section here, I may move the seats around and I may change out these couches to something different. I'm not sure. I might put in another one of these. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But basically, I'm just going to continue going down this whole car the same way I did this. So I'm going to go and skip ahead, and then we will be right back. Alright, as you guys can see, it's coming along well. I have this section done and this section done. I kind of rearranged the furniture a little bit. I got this section going here. Now, this section here, on the other car, I went ahead and got rid of this. I kept the chair, but I got rid of the table and this section here. And obviously, like I said, this whole thing is up to you, but I'm personally going to leave this in for this one just to give a little more variety. So I will go ahead and do this, and then like I said, this section here is the same thing as over here, same steps and everything. So I'll finish this car and then I'll be right back. Alright, so I went ahead and finished this section of the car. As you guys can see, it looks really good. And then with this section complete, we're now going to turn our attention to the Vista Dome section of the car, which is right here. Okay, so here's the shell of the car. I put the other part on the track over there so that way it doesn't get damaged. And then now we'll turn our attention to this. Now at the top, which is right over here, can be removed. You just kind of stick something up this hole and you can remove it. Now what I did on this car is I went ahead and removed the top so that way you can actually see inside all the detail that's in here. And that's what I'm going to do with this one, because you know, I feel that if you go to the trouble of doing all this detail and you really can't see it very well, what's the point of doing it? So under here, there's two things you have to do. The first thing is easy. You kind of pop these tabs right here, and then you go ahead and remove this upper section. And then the tricky thing is connecting these lights, because they have these little plugs. And what you need to do is you need to attach a cable from here to here, or vice versa, whichever way you want to do it. But the goal is to have this set of lights and this set of lights work. So what I like to do is, after I pull all this out, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and come back and show you guys what to do. Alright, so now I have the dome section of the car removed, and now all we're going to do is we're going to disconnect each of these plugs that goes to these lights, and then what we're going to do is we're going to attach one here and another over here, and then we're going to take this third cable and connect the wires together. That way the lights will work. So it's pretty simple, so I'm going to skip ahead and I'll be right back once this is done. Alright, so I went ahead and connected those two cables together, and I routed the wires so that way you don't see them when you look inside the car. And I went ahead and connected the tether, so now we're going to put this on the track and see what the lights look like. Alright, so here we are. Now obviously it isn't in place permanently, but you can see, I go down in here, you can see all the detail. It looks really good. So now what we'll do is we'll put the top on, and then I'll go ahead and reassemble the car. I'll slide it back in and put the vestibules on, and then this project will be done. Alright, so here's the car all put back together. And if I bring the camera in, you can see that this is our end result. Looks really good, and again, with that top removed, you can really see all the detail inside. Because you got to think, if I still had this in here, you wouldn't be able to see this. The only spot you really be able to see is in here. But with this, you can kind of lean over and actually see all the detail. It looks really, really good in my opinion. Now, this is where we're going to stop for today's video, because I don't have any window material to do. But the next video, I will show you guys how to change out the windows. Now, I accidentally dropped this shell on this car when I was working on putting it back together, because like I said, it's a royal bear to get this car taken apart and put back together. So I accidentally dropped it and basically all the windows popped out. But all you basically do is you take like a screwdriver or something and just pop them out. Or you can use your finger depending on how nudged in they are. And essentially what you'll do after that is you'll get like some transparency paper or anything that's clear and just kind of tape it to the inside of the car. So that way, in the end, you'll have something that looks like this. And of course this car does have the windows in it. There's a better view. So for any guys who are wondering how I did this car, you just saw it start to finish right there. So that's gonna wrap it up for this tutorial video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it and found it useful. Now I will be doing the observation car the same way. I don't know if I'll do a video on that one because it's basically the same process as this, but if I find anything that's really different, I may do a video. So we'll see. But until the next video, guys, I'm Matt, Trend Over 943. Catch you later.